Miami, 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 Miami. It feel like Miami.
Welcome to the EP Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas. And with me today, we got a full house up in here. I have Ryan Sparvero in chat saying G was taking too long undoing his bottom buttons. No buns today. Wore a workout shirt, to spare y'all from my chest for a few days. Lord help you if they win. Lord help chat if they win. With me today, beautiful panel, full house. Starting from left to right, we got Kenny Spence, the co-host of Pre-Gaming. What's up, Kenny?
What's up, man? It's been a minute since we've had a full cast on the podcast, so excited for that, man. I get to talk a little bit less.
Chat saying, what's up with my mic? Is everything, do I sound bad?
Are you good?
No, you good to us.
I see what's going on here. That should be better. My mic should be fixed. I apologize for that. I had a box ticked off that I shouldn't have, so let me know if any other problems persist. To the right of me, the great Siobhan Beslow, host.
What's up? Hey, people.
How are you?
I am. Oh, don't even throw that. Don't plug that.
Everybody has a show.
I'm good. To Kenny's point, haven't been on in a while, so this is fun. Let's get back into it.
Let's get back into it. And on the far right, we have the great Tiffany Meeks, host of Mixed Bag.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, we ready to rock?
Well, so first, what's important here, G, is that you plug Siobhan's retwist because I don't want that to go unnoticed.
I mean, let's keep the main thing the main thing.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
We know one thing we won that tonight, those twists. If we don't win nothing else.
I am glad we're a visual medium so people can appreciate this.
If Miami ain't gonna be right, we gonna be right.
Absolutely love it.
That's it.
So, fam, audience, fellow panelists here, we're talking defense today, which to me is the most interesting part about this series. I think with how Miami's season has gone, their defense and their offense has been pretty polarizing, but I think defensively is where they have their greatest upside, and it's also where they have faltered the most, pretty much since the trade deadline, really. So we're going to get into that today. We're going to talk about how they're going to defend a team that I think they absolutely dominated on the defensive end last playoffs. They are a new-look team, a lot of old pieces, some new ones, and certainly a very different vibe around these guys. So I think we need to start at the top. And I want to talk about kind of the matchups more than individual players like we did for offense. I think defense is more of kind of a team element. But, guys, do you know what else is a team element? Playing video games. And Miami Gaming Parties gives you a customized gaming experience. Our brand new sponsor, Miami Gaming Parties, delivers private custom video game tournaments for gamers and their lucky guests. This is truly custom. You pick the game and the package premium or black tie VIP for 8 to 16 people. And they bring it all, everything from PS5s to trophies for the winners. Play at home or at a venue of your choosing with free on-site consultation, perfect for birthday parties, bachelor parties, anniversaries, corporate events, anything you want to celebrate. Maybe you could throw in a little play and watch party with a little 2K tournament. Who's going to say no to that? Check out MiamiGamingParties.com for more information. You can find them on Twitter at Gaming Parties, on Instagram at Miami_Gaming_Parties, or search for Miami Gaming Parties on Facebook. So check out all that. But the Miami Heat are also gamers on the court, especially Jimmy Butler on defense. And he's going to play a huge role in how they defend Trae Young. So let's just get into this. And Kenny, I'll start with you, and we'll go around the room. Mm-hmm. The game plan against Trae Young, I feel, has to be very similar to how they've executed it this season and last year in the playoffs. A lot of switching. Make sure you get a lot of size on him. You send a lot of bodies, throw a lot of help, load up on the strong side of the ball, and make sure that they are ready to rotate on that swing pass. I don't think much has changed on that end. Their personnel has a little bit. How do you feel about it? Are you confident in that they can continue doing it?
So the personnel on both sides does kind of, I wouldn't say scare me, but I don't expect the same exact results for the simple fact that if you have Max starting out on John Collins, and there's no better way for me to say it, John Collins isn't exactly the best player in the world anymore, but as a roller, he's still a bit of a threat. I don't really care too much about his pick and pop. His shooting numbers are pretty terrible since he hurt his hand. But if you're going to have Max Strus in those actions instead of Caleb with his length and him being able to trap the way he does, it's a little concerning. I don't know if I want to see Kevin Love at all this series, because if you let Trae Young get some daylight and see a few shots go down, it could get a little dangerous for you. And I don't want the starting lineup to change because Max has been great. He's been shooting lights out, and they need that. But the defensive end is going to suffer a little bit, and that kind of concerns me. So
Young has averaged this season 35% from the field, 20% from three, 5.3 turnovers. They have a 1-3 record. Their one win being on MLK Day in the most Jekyll and Hyde half of Pete basketball I've ever seen. So a real interesting time with Trae. Bon, where do you stand with that? Because I think that Max is certainly, I think, capable, and I think we've seen him at the very least, a good defender. At times, sometimes, I think you see like matchups like Luka where, that's like an impossible situation for him. I think because he has some size. Where do you see kind of him and really the team? I don't want to just focus on him, but really how they defend Trae.
So I'd forgotten that we'd switched the starting lineup and that Max was starting. Given that I understand, I think, the reasons why Kenny doesn't want to see some Kevin Love in this series. What I will say to counter that is, while it's different than what they've been doing and watching the last couple of Hawks games, they found a decent amount of success in the Kevin Love hard show, and either the show and recover or the show and stay and kind of close in the box. And I think it doesn't look nice depending on what your eyes are. But because he's such an intelligent defender, and I think he's, Kevin Love's aware of his physical and like athletic limitations. What I appreciate with how he moves when approaching the pick is he knows he's going to show, like he knows he's going to hedge or whatever. And so he kind of does a little bit. I had clips and I wasn't going to put him on the show, but I might put him on the timeline later. He does his work a little bit early. Like his first two steps are intentional enough that it signals to the rest of the back line kind of what it is that he is about to do. And they are better able to kind of like preemptively prepare to rotate rather than a bunch of reactionary rotations. And it's interesting kind of like the difference with Kevin and when Cody Zeller does it. Kevin is so good at it, and Kevin shows hard. And from what I've been watching, it did a decent job at it got the ball out of Trae's hands, and it also kept him like pushed back. Whereas kind of like when Cody shows, he's giving that cushion and allowing Trae kind of to still, navigate and make kind of some forward progress. So I like I said, Kenny, I get the optics of Kevin Love, big, kind of slower, but to your point about keeping length and kind of keeping him contained a little bit, I do think I would kind of like to see, not even think or I would like to see some Kevin Love, some show and recover only, or if only because I think it triggers something to the rest of the back line. Oh shit, he's about to show. I know I have to pre-rotate here. I know I have to split the two. And I think now with Max, I think Max makes it difficult. I hadn't even really considered the Max aspect of it because, again, I forgot that we switched lineups. I think it's doable. I don't know. I think maybe you get into some trouble with some of the switches with that group. But I think also you can't do one thing. I think you got to switch it up. You can't give them a steady diet of looking at one thing. You have to, every few possessions, I think you got to give them something. But the defense has to be disciplined. They got to be locked in possession to possession.
Tiff, I don't think they go at him that much. I think they are going to want to get Collins or really Capella as rollmen, which really activate their offense, right? They are a north-south team, and they are an inside-out team. They're kind of the opposite of Miami in that sense. So I do think we're going to see a lot of Bam in that coverage. I do think that they're going to try to limit it to one big for all the reasons that we just talked about. As good as Kevin's been on the show, I do think that they're going to focus on kind of Bam plus whatever, Jimmy or Kate or Max, whoever you want to call the four there. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think, I mean, like all the concerns are valid, but I think like if you look at it in a sense, like you're tethering Max to Bam and Jimmy in the starting lineup. And then let's say you do bring in Love. So more than likely you're going to tether Love to Caleb Martin and
Kyle
one of the
Lowry.
starters.
Yeah.
Or yeah, Kyle. So
Kyle, yeah.
so it's kind of like you have a hornet's nest that can surround the guys who are the weaker defenders on the team.
Yep.
And at this point, they know what to do. You know, as even though we haven't seen everyone do it night in and night out, these guys know what to do in all the defensive strategies. Like they know what to do. So if you're anchoring them to very good defenders, you don't need them to be otherworldly. You just need them to hold strong. That's it.
Are we
You
sure
just
that?
need them.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish. No, you go.
No, I'm just saying you just need them to just be strong enough to hold the line. You don't need them to be outerworldly.
Are we sure that Max starts? Because I think the matchup on Trae Young that makes the most sense on ball is Caleb Lowry. Caleb and Gabe really are the guys that I think are going to do the majority. Because Kyle doesn't
work.
Yeah, they're going to be the workhorses on Trae. I mean, I think Gabe Vincent, your boy, is going to be huge this series as a physical defender. I think he's the most
he has
physical.
to be.
He's like the most physical guard
He
defender
has
they
to
have.
be.
I think
It's
Kyle's.
not, he has to be. Like, let's be honest. Gabe has to be. And I do agree that like Caleb and Gabe are the two strongest defenders on him. But then it's if you switch that rotation, the other thing is we are really now highly dependent upon Depot.
That's
For better or for worse, I'm just saying, because if you switch the starting lineup, right now, Max will be coming in with probably Kevin Love.
Yeah, it'd be Kevin,
That's
Kyle.
That's a great point, and Spo always talks about that element of you can't.
Yeah,
you change something, something's gonna change on the other end.
Yeah, it's the trickle down effect.
Been saying that.
Right. So I personally think Caleb and Gabe are the best two, and especially Caleb with the wingspan. And then when they do those traps, those two are unbelievable. But I think the problem is once we get past those first five, now how do you handle that next rotation?
Yeah. So in that bench group, that's when you get your some facsimile of whatever your two bigs look like. And one of those bigs will not be Bam. And so, I don't know, depends on what the rotations are, or the timing of the substitution patterns. You were talking, G, about like the switching a lot and having success on the switches. I think that I agree with you, and then wanting to keep a one man, hopefully a one person to him, and kind of protect the role person. And some of the footage on the game on the 4th, they had Bam guarding like John Collins in the corner, so that when, I don't know if but in doing that, while they were working out whatever was happening at the pick and roll again, as they were preparing to roll and to I guess kind of cinch the defense, you had Bam coming over from help. And I don't know, I guess that's a way to keep him engaged with some of the rolling action, but also nearer to the rim and not always switched out. And like Trae's little too. So, and like Bam's longer than, so it's easier than I think people kind of realize to kind of Trae to like be able to sneak his way or like maneuver around Bam and just get the ball out of his hands. And now you have that like force scramble.
Kenny, the big thing I think here in this matchup is they're going to switch and they're going to play drop. I think they're going to switch more than they drop, because I think giving Trae the airspace is something that they have shown that they are not comfortable doing. If he shoots, it's under duress. It's not, Zach Lowe likes to use the term dictate the terms of engagement. And I think they want their biggest priority is to take that agency away from Trae. And on defense, they want to dictate the kinds of shots Atlanta gets. And they're, Trae's a tough shot hitter, but I think they've proven if they put enough size. So I do think they're going to see a ton of switching, Kenny. I think they're going to load up on him a lot. And I think that they're going to really, really make that pass to the middle to that roller as difficult as possible, whether that's Jimmy at the nail, sinking down to make sure that he can contest that pass, whatever help from the corners they can get. That, I think, is a recipe, and everything else revolves around those decisions.
Well, and you know what? And I think that's why I don't want to see the starting lineup change, because to Siobhan's point, that would change some other things. And, of course, you don't want Trae to get off early, but, and also to Tiff's point, they have Jimmy and Bam to contain him in those minutes. But when you bring Caleb off the bench, and maybe Oladipo, depending on how much they trust him, you don't give Trae any breaks, even if it's for 2 minutes when the starters are out and he's still out there. You don't give him any breaks. And we've seen him get frustrated with the Heat, and that's when the turnovers start, and that's when he starts forcing shots. And so what's important is for them to do all those things. To, if it's not Jimmy at the nail, now it's Caleb at the nail, or it's Caleb trapping, or it's Caleb. Just give him no breaks throughout the entire 48 minutes or however many minutes he plays, and that's going to be the key to it. And so everything you said is true, but you just want to make sure you have the right personnel on the floor at all times to continue to execute that at a high level.
I want to talk about.
G,
go ahead, Devon.
You were talking about, like, you know, we could kind of backstage that we could kind of group the Atlanta big men together. I think so. You can, but I think I guess the pick and roll coverage also depends on who that big is setting the screen.
Yeah.
With some of the Giancarlo screen and stuff, again, last game when they were showing with Kevin and whoever that guard is kind of just staying on the ball, they were letting John like freely roll into that short roll kind of area and just cinching in. Like whoever was on weak side with the one person there was taking a step in. The two here on strong side were just taking a half, 2 steps in and just kind of closing that pocket a little bit while not fully converging on it, and then playing out of that and getting back. Kevin Love got a charge out of something like that. So I do think it's dependent on which one of their bigs is the role man. Like a Kongwu's role are going to look different than like a John Collins' role.
Absolutely. But I think that if you're Spo, the thing you're most scared of, I think the guy you're most scared of is Capella going downhill. I think Collins can hurt you in other ways as well. He can shoot. He has more of a jump shot. He can do a little bit more with the ball. I think Spo loves to deal with these. I don't want to call a guy like Clint Capella one-dimensional because he's a very good basketball player and he's very talented. He has a very defined role, and they like to take that role away from you. And Spo's very good at guys like Steve Novak, obviously not same caliber of player, but like these specialists, I think they've shown that they're very good at erasing these guys. And I think that's a huge key to the series. If his size and offensive rebounding, because they will switch and they will give up size on the back end, because if they switch and Gabe is suddenly having a contest and box out him, you got to be active on the boards. That stuff becomes huge, Tiff.
Well, yeah, and I was watching today I was watching the last game that we played them, and the problem with that is with Capella is that he's constant motion, which is one. And there were multiple times down the court where we were caught out switching, and he's just behind the defense each and every time, getting a layup, getting a dunk, or getting a putback. And more so that they figured out how to get Bam out of the play. So you ended up with Gabe, you ended up with Max, you ended up with pretty much all the guards trying to box him out, and obviously none of it worked, but just because he's very good at getting the rebound and keeping the ball alive. I think that, to me, that's one of the bigger problems, trying to keep him in front of them.
And you know what? That's I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's what teams have been doing lately in general. They'll call Bam into the action, they'll switch, and they'll just have whoever Bam switched onto just get the fuck out of the way and just have him not involved at all.
That's something problem with a lot of the Bam switches. Like, it's not that Bam isn't capable of containing out here or whatever, but it's the fact that they nullify him, they get him out the action, and then it's just all our smalls down low, Gabe trying to block out Pascal Siakam, shit like that.
Like I don't think they're gonna switch like every possession and have that problem. I think that there's gonna be moments where they play drop, and we've seen them specifically against Atlanta. You know,
And they trap Trae a lot too.
they do. They love sending. I think the late Bond. We talk about this all the time. The timing of the double has to be late and has to be in a corner or on a wing. Can't be on the middle of the floor because then
It can't.
yeah, he'll see that.
To that point, and so again, watching the game earlier, he like navigated his way out of whatever was happening at the pick and roll, and found himself kind of attacking on the left side. Jimmy was on that side, strong side, guarding someone at the wing. And, you know, Jimmy, you know, they dig a lot. And I think a small adjustment I would like to see is that we have two in that trap and we're going to dig. I kind of would sometimes a little bit like to see a commitment from that dig. Stay there. Give me that complete 3-sided box and like push him out. Trace little. You have Kevin Love or Bam, Gabe, and then Jimmy, big, long, active. And don't even necessarily dig at the angle. Get parallel or get perpendicular, like box him in. I think I kind of just went on a little tangent there. But no, I agree with you that the timing of when they bring the extra help and where and like the discipline and how they do it is going to be important.
So I like what Outback Threeses in chat says. If they can frustrate Trae early, he's a prime candidate to get the shits and start chucking up bullshit to the derailment of team. And that's the kind of Kenny. That's you need to like psychologically attack these players, and he's their best player, and he can also shoot them out of a game. And if they are so heliocentric around him, it's quite literally cutting off the head of the snake. We will defang your offense by making him as useless as possible.
Mm-hmm. And to Outback Three's point also, he's going
what
on
a
about
funny sentence to Outback Three's point.
But it is a valid point though, because to build on it, since Caleb Martin got to Miami, I don't know what Trae's numbers are against the Heat, but he's going to come into this game either wanting to prove a point, or I don't want to just say he's going to be intimidated, but it's going to be on his mind. He has not found an answer against his team in 2 years. And so if you already frustrate him early, it's going to make things a lot worse for him.
I mean, and they leaking that he's up for trades and shit.
Right.
Are they trying to light a fire or get them to quit so they can get a better pick?
I think the Atlanta Hawks are not that smart of an organization.
No. I think the thing
reverse
that it doesn't even matter, because honestly, like,
it doesn't.
I don't want to speak for Trae, but like, he should come out with something to prove. Like, if he doesn't, that tells you everything you need to know about him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's gonna be personal for him.
Right. And as the Heat look at this, they should know he's coming out with something to prove. That's how I look at it.
But with Trae, what happens with him a lot of times is it's kind of like going into the boxing ring angry and just making bad mistakes. Like, he's that type of player. And so I think in that sense, I think the Heat want him to feel like he has something to prove and kind of like pick at him on that and kind of force mistakes.
They got to hit him early. They got to punch him in the mouth early.
No, it's that first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That first 3 minutes will tell you everything you need to know about what's happening on both sides of the ball.
But the Trae DeJounte tandem, we talked a lot about Trae. What do we do? How do we feel?
That's what I wanted to get into. Like, match. So from he's a guy that, do you put Jimmy on him? I think you want Jimmy in help spots. Do you put Max on him? So like, we know Gabe's gonna guard Trae, and we know Bam's gonna guard Capella.
Ain't no way you put Max on him. I literally just watched on DeJounte. I just watched that last game.
That's got to be Caleb.
He was giving Bam the business. You can't put Max on him.
He's the problem. He's the other problem.
Honestly,
let's be problem.
Real. He's the problem. I think
he is.
I think DeJounte is the problem. I watched that last game.
Mm-hmm.
He got anywhere on the floor he wanted. And that mid-range, no one talks about for him.
Nasty.
He's got it facing the basket. He's got the turnaround mid-range. He got the fall away. I mean, he has mastered that shot. There's absolutely no way you could put Max on him and then follow up with whoever. Because if he gets rolling, that, to me, I think it's more impactful than if Trae gets rolling.
And I think to that point, keeping DeJounte in mind, you might have to go with Caleb so that you can get some Caleb on DeJounte minutes. If Gabe is going to see a lot of time on Trae, Jimmy, can pick and plug in the holes, play free safety, dig at the nails or whatever. You might have to get Caleb out there heavy and often particularly for DeJounte.
It's tough because they're really a pick your poison kind of team with those two guys because you want Tiff. I actually disagree with you. I think that Trae is kind of the more impactful guy because I think DeJounte's offense is a little more self-contained. Trae creates offense for everybody else and himself.
But see, I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it as the fact that like when you're playing ball and someone can just at any moment go get 20 without breaking a sweat, and most of the 20s are deep threes, then they can sit back and just assist, set it up. So if you get DeJounte rolling, and let's say Trae finishes the half with 10 and 6, he's due for an explosion.
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing. They can ride DeJounte for a long time. It's not like this dude is not a valuable player out there. Like he can go out there and get you 30.
DeJounte can hold his own.
And so I think people
on both ends.
Right. And people forget that like Trae can just get it going at any moment. So if you're going to allow Trae to just kind of pick his spots and you're going to allow DeJounte to cook, he's going to get going at some point.
I actually think that Kyle becomes one of his primary defenders because Kyle's strong and DeJounte's not doing it with quickness, right? DeJounte's, a very strength-based.
But he can be precision.
Quick. He can be, but I think that's more the guy you want Kyle on than a guy like Trae Young. I think Kyle will see a lot of reps on him because, the other guy is Hunter, who, he's a very talented guy and he's a big wing who I think that's the guy that Jimmy's going to have to be on a lot of the time.
Yeah.
DeJounte's an interesting guy to put Jimmy on because he is also very helpable. And then one of these guys, Tyler's going to have to defend for stretches.
Who's helpable? Jimmy is helpable off of DeJounte.
Because he's not really a three-point shooter. So, as a spacer, you can you can rotate off of him. I mean, it hurts you less to rotate off of him as opposed to a guy who can really knock down threes. Obviously, he's going to crash the boards. He's going to, he's a good basketball player, right? But, usually the non-shooters are the ones that you help off of. But, they're going to have to find a place for Tyler. I think Tyler will also see some time on Trae. Just the way that.
And we want to talk about people taking things personal. Tyler should take this Trae matchup personally from a defensive.
Trae does. Trae does take the matchup personal.
Trae does.
Does.
So Tyler should dig some heels in. And Tyler's been better defensively. His effort's been better. His discipline.
I've never questioned Bon and Kenny. I want to give the floor to you because this is your boy. I want to give a shout out to Tyler because I thought his defense in the Philadelphia game the other day was fantastic. The way that he was in the right spots, the way that he was containing the spaces that he had to, he was helping very smart late in the clock. He was taking away angles from spin moves. He was so disciplined, and I know that he doesn't have the size or some of the gifts that guys like Jimmy or DeJounte have, but I thought that if he can give you that kind of defensive performance, that is so big time. I just want to give a huge shout out to him in a big game. But Kenny, where do you see him defensively this series? Because, it's kind of tough to find a place for him. There's no easy guy to put him on.
Yeah, so they're probably gonna have to put Jimmy on DeAndre Hunter to put Jimmy on DeJounte just to kind of save because Tyler has been better defensively. He does. The effort is never in question. When he does still get beat off the dribble kind of often, but he does a good job of recovering. But you still don't want those breakdowns against DeJounte. So I do think you maybe put Jimmy on DeJounte at least to start out. And then the rotation as substitutes come in, you kind of go from there. But I do think you just kind of put Tyler on DeAndre Hunter to kind of not necessarily hide him, but give him less on-ball responsibility.
Doesn't Bogdanovich start? Isn't
I don't think so.
Atlanta starting?
The most of their games, I see the starting lineup as Trae, DeJounte, Hunter, Collins, and Capella. I know that
Collins, that's what I'm forgetting.
Yeah, but Collins has been kind of in and out of the starting lineup. They went through a period where they didn't start him, and then now he's starting again. So it's kind of tough. I mean, Bogey's another guy that is gonna has had a lot of success, but I know that he hasn't had the best season this year.
Yeah,
I know that he's taken a bit.
It's a new season, G.
Whole season, new season.
And he is another ignitable one.
Yes.
You can't let him get going either.
But those are the funniest thing is that while they have like a plethora of guys that like are ignitable, we don't have a plethora of like individual defenders. So everybody's gonna have to be tethered. Like that is literally the only way you're gonna be able to contain some of those fires.
They are going to have to, and maybe the listeners don't want to hear this right now because of the way he's looked for the most part, but they're gonna have to be able to trust Victor Oladipo.
No, they have to.
They're gonna have to because
do you guys think he's gonna play?
They're gonna need that body.
What G?
G.
He has to play.
He
There's
has
no
to.
question
He has
about
to
whether or not
tomorrow.
he plays.
I don't know. I don't know that he plays.
Listen, if you tell me, Gabe, Max, Caleb, Jimmy, and whoever else, if they are in tuned and they are on a string 100%, then maybe he don't play. But I just don't see how, quote unquote, one of your best defenders, when you've got all these guards who can run rampage on you, I don't see how he can't get in. I just don't see it.
Vic
We
is
talked about
also a good.
Highsmith too. Like those are like Depot and
No,
Highsmith.
I forgot about
But like
Hamish.
the rotation, we agreed that
Now
Zeller,
Hamish can give you some DeJounte, some
Yeah.
some Herder, some Herder.
Herder.
Well, not Herder.
Hunter.
Hunter. Sorry,
Herders in
Hunter.
Sacramento.
Hunter too.
Yeah, like the beam. but
That's
no,
gonna be a fun series.
I think Vic plays, and the catch and shoot has come on a bit.
You think they
If
go
you stop
9 deep?
doing like all that other stuff, I
Give
think
me
you
your
do. I think
give me your 9.
Starting
to
5.
Kenny's point of keeping Trae like frustrated and just keeping fresh legs
Fresh
and
bodies.
activeness on him. First 5. Who else?
So you got Jimmy, Bam, Max, Tyler, and Gabe Vincent. Then Kyle off the bench. Kevin Love off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7. Caleb Martin off the bench. That's 8. And then
Do we see Cody?
we talked Frankie and Lou.
We may have to.
We said that we don't think we see Zeller and Love. It's either or.
It's one of the other.
Especially
Maybe
against
this-
Atlanta.
Yeah.
So then now we're at 8. We're not counting Zeller. And by the way, Zeller seemed pretty Alex broke news when he came on the pod that Zeller kind of said he really likes it here and wants to be back. Interesting considering he said that in the midst of getting benched. So maybe they have some sort of plan in mind for him next year, but just kind of shout out to Zeller. So that's 8. Now we have Highsmith and Depot at 9-10. That's not even counting Duncan, who has killed Atlanta and is notably very good against drop, specifically the kind of drop Atlanta plays. So there's 11 guys this series that have an argument to get minutes, and I don't think Spo goes deeper than 9. So that it gets tough. I don't even know. He may play 9, but I don't know if those are heavy minutes. It's tough.
But that's the thing. They don't have to be heavy minutes. They can be 4 or 5 minute spurts of just coming in and destructiveness, just being in the way, knocking shit over.
Tiff, I could see a world where if Max doesn't have it going shooting the ball, they might that might be where Depot gets in. They're like, hey, Max is kind of struggling a little on defense.
Right.
Might not be his night shooting. Kind of a weird matchup. Let's get Depot, see what he can give us.
And it's interesting because I would say if Max isn't playing well, I would go with Highsmith.
I would go with Highsmith too. I'm just trying to find the
Before
argument.
Because he can go
The versatility.
He could play up or he could play down.
That way you can keep Caleb on Trae and you can have Highsmith to defend one of the other two guys.
Yeah.
So
I think Depot.
So if you told me in the first 3 minutes Max isn't doing anything, I would go with Hamish.
I think ideally you wish that Depot was a bit of a better shooter because then you can play him and not be super scared. I think that they are happy with the way their offense is playing. And I believe in the last 15 games they're like the 11th best offense in the league. They got something going. Zach33 says Vic might be if Kyle isn't looking good. Possible as well. If any of these guys aren't performing well, there's certainly like, I think for sure Jimmy, Tyler, Bam are going to have their minutes regardless. And then everybody else is prove it and see. I think Gabe as well. I just think Gabe's defense is going to be so huge this series. I can even see him closing games with Kyle. I could see him closing games over Kyle. I think it's a big series for Gabe to also get paid as well.
I do want to say, G, because this may change this a little bit. It's not a series.
I know. I keep calling it series. We did that on the last one. Frankie, Lou, and I, we were like, yeah, this series, and we got to be like, it's not a series. We're not used to this playing business.
It's win or go home.
That's what I'm saying. We may see some Oladipo because
all hands on deck.
Yeah, you got to do everything. And I'm not even trying to be incendiary, and I'm really not. If Tyler doesn't look like he has it going on offensively and is being picked at defensively successfully, you just made the point, like, you think Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, they get their minutes.
I think they get their minutes.
And I think that I agree. I guess what I'm saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Spo were quick to pull Tyler and not like bench him, but like, I need you to take 5 minutes, sit right here with me for a second. We'll try this again. In another 6 minutes.
I think he'll get to his 30-odd-ish minutes just because he's been so big for them on offense this year, and I know that I
think he definitely gets there fourth quarter-ish, but like during I don't know if there's some weeds in the game in the middle. Maybe not.
And I think this is a good game for Tyler because he's good. He's good against drop. He's good at getting to his spots. Trae will certainly be. See some time on him as well. Probably see more on Gabe, but in minutes where Gabe is on the floor, he might be the guy, especially or Kyle. I think there's going to be opportunities for him to kind of show Kenny. He's great against drop. He'll be good in that pick and roll. Mm-hmm. He'll be good at kind of stepping into his threes. I think the mid range is also going to be open for him this game. With the way
he's got to take it.
And Atlanta, not to skew this too much offense because we did that last time, but we talked about how Atlanta, really just allows a ton of shots at the rim, and I think that's going to be huge for him as well. That he's going to be able to get to his spots and stuff. I think free throws are huge this series as well. Miami doesn't foul a lot this year, and I think keeping Miami getting to the line so that they can set their defense. And guys, the time that Atlanta has been most successful against this team was the first half of that MLK game where they were flying. And Miami's priority has to be you guys cannot control how this game is played. And I think Miami's defense has to be the one to dictate how that game is played.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. It always has to start defense.
But I think to your point about the Hawks allowing a ton of shots at the rim, I think it's on Tyler to make sure he gets all the way there.
Right.
And doesn't settle for the floater when he has it there. But also when he does get all the way there, don't premeditate the layup. If Clint Capella helps a little too hard, dump that pass off the Bam or whoever the big is at the time.
Right.
So it's going to be a real big game for Tyler as far as the discipline goes and as far as letting the game come to him. And we saw how he struggled last year in the playoffs against the Hawks also. And so this is going to be huge for him.
It wasn't on defense, though. I never had questions about Tyler's defense in that Hawks series. And for all the talk about him getting picked on, that did not happen against Atlanta.
No. And also, obviously they have DeJounte Murray now, but I think, and we're not talking about last year too much, but I think people just don't realize how great of a defender DeLon Wright is. So that contributed to Tyler's struggles a lot last year also.
And to that point, Tiff, who you mentioned backstage, or you might have just been talking to me, who was a problem you think might be for us on that Hawks roster?
Oh, Bay.
Sadiq, that's the guy I'm scared of, bro.
He's a heat killer. Problem.
He's a heat killer, bro.
I'm telling you, I was watching that last game, and this man was having uncontested dunks at the rim.
Tiff, he always does against us.
Wide open three-pointers.
Tiff, that man kills us.
Yes, he's physically just shaking our players off him and going to the basket.
All the tools.
How many Calebs do we have?
That is, man,
not enough.
Caleb, how many people can you defend at once?
Can you call your brother like? What's he do?
We can play 48 minutes that way. If you guys do like a twin thing
No, for real. The line and Sadiq, I think that they pose one again. Not trying to make it too offensive heavy. Y'all did that, but like they pose offensive threats, and I think that they pose defensive threats.
No, we
as
want to
well.
talk about
And
Atlanta's
but
offense.
it's a comparison because Delon is, I think, in Washington now. But last playoff, he gave Tyler a ton of problems.
But Sadiq Bey is
Sadiq,
he's going to be a problem. But I think like defensively, I honestly think if Jimmy is doing Jimmy things, that means he's controlling the game on the defensive end.
Well,
He's
Jimmy.
in the
Go ahead, Tiff.
No, I'm just saying he's in the passing lanes. He's doing all those little things that you don't realize that have gotten you a 10-point lead.
So their identity on defense has been turnovers this year, and I think Jimmy is obviously. I think Jimmy, Kyle, and Bam are the three most important parts of that identity because of how I've talked about how Kyle is so good at kind of getting guys who get the pass low. Jimmy and Bam are monsters. Bam at pressuring passing lanes. Jimmy at making that shit happen, jumping those gaps. With Trae,
Vic has been in their passing lanes.
But Vic's on the
Caleb.
ball, right? Like Vic is pressing on ball and he's hounding you. Gabe as well. They're just so good at that, and they have kind of the length, at every position, kind of ironically, to do that. And that's your magic word. But Jimmy. The way that Jimmy presses the passing lanes, I think particularly against Atlanta, the way that Trae plays, it's why he's really good at the nail, kind of sink low and anticipate those passes to a rolling big. He's really good at shooting that gap between the wing and the corner guy. He's exceptional at that, and I think when they kind of trap Trae in that corner or at that wing spot, you don't have the same kind of built-in passing options and reads, so they're going to try to force that. Yeah. And if Miami can get out and run, they can control the pace. They can get free throws. They can set their defense. And as long as they force enough turnovers against Atlanta, they're just going to struggle to find a rhythm. And we've all talked about how we've watched the games. That second half of that MLK game, I think, is a really good example of how they do that. I mean, Jimmy can just absolutely control it. He can quarterback a defense by forcing these turnovers. By, as long as you guys are pressuring the ball enough, I will make it hell. Because you got to force a bad or so-so pass, like what they do against the Sixers.
The lost order ball pressure. Good grief.
And
I want to you gave him his flowers earlier, and I want to give him a little bit too. And everyone controlling the things that they can control. I think Tyler being disciplined defensively goes a long way for them. I know a couple of y'all have said you never questioned the effort from him defensively. I gotta agree or disagree a little bit. But and when the effort wasn't there for me, it was annoying because he's elusive enough and he has the things to be like the defender that he kind of is now. And so I think if he stays disciplined and if he's paying attention when the doubles are happening away from him, and if he's rotating, if he's like bumping the road man and getting out and his feet are good and he's not like giving guys passing or driving lanes, I think with I guess the better defenders that we've talked about Miami having, Tyler should also reap the benefit of some of those things as well. He digs well enough, and can get out and push too.
They have the tools, and I'm not too. Yeah. I am worried and simultaneously worried and not worried about this matchup. They have clear soft spots. I think Kevin, Tyler are really like the attack angles. I think everywhere else in their defense, Max is like, I think Max goes, hashtag the deuces, could go either way. Shout out to Crab and Dose. They have their methods of, and I think that they've shown that they can kind of hold up with Atlanta. So I wanted to go through everybody's kind of X factor on defense. I think we talked about kind of their defensive game plan as a whole. I think we all agree that it's, hey, put a lot of pressure on the pick and roll handler, which is mostly going to be Trae. Load up on that size, give all the help you can. Make sure that you tag the roll guy, right? This pretty, double late in the clock, force the passes to the places that that you can make it difficult. Well, I think we agree all those things, and that kind of always plays into Miami's kind of principle in the way that they swarm and stuff like that. Let's talk about guys that we haven't maybe talked about too much that you guys think are X factors. We can go Kenny, and then we'll go from left to right. Kenny, who do you got?
So my X factor, especially defensively, is going to be Kyle Lowry. And we understand he's not the on-ball defender he used to be, but he does provide versatility on the defensive end because him in the post is not a mismatch. And so I think it's gonna be him. Like, okay, like the Hawks are gonna try to find ways to get Trae open or get those rolls and all that stuff. And he want to switch on some possessions. If you have Kyle Lowry out there, you can afford to switch because he's able to guard up. And so I think he's gonna be the key factor tomorrow night.
I want to congratulate Kenny for his raise that he earned tonight. Kenny, I want to publicly say that.
Girl, bye.
What a great
Kenny,
what a great pick by Kenny Spence.
Whatever. I'm about to announce my free agency. You better cut it out.
All we have to do was say something nice about Kyle to get a raise.
We're probably
Tiffany's still waiting for a chair. Like,
Right.
It's on the way. I got the tracking.
I'm sitting on cinder blocks.
I got the chair and a bucket hat for you. It's coming. We got the tracking. That's really insane. They, I was gonna pick Kyle. I'm glad that Kenny picked Kyle. I'm gonna go with Spo as my X factor. I think that there's stuff that we haven't seen yet that they're gonna throw out on defense.
Yeah. Better be.
I think that these are the matchups that he relishes the most. I think the fact he loves planning for guys like Trae. These heliocentric offenses, Spo has been so successful. I think those are his best coaching jobs. Are those series or matchups or the ones where he has not enough healthy players, right? So like, I think the best series he's ever coached is the Lakers in 2020, which they were super shorthanded. I thought he was spectacular even in loss, and I think that Atlanta series last year was just a masterpiece by Spo, understanding the strengths and weaknesses and being very creative on both ends of the floor. So I think he's the guy that I think there's going to be stuff that we haven't seen yet defensively, and he's one to surprise in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Eric Spoelstra.
I am going to split my vote in half and give half to Vic, and I really am going to give the other half to Kevin. I think Kevin does sneaky, disruptive things for the flow of the top part of Atlanta's offense.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I do want to add to that also and give Kevin Love his credit because I think a lot of times when we think rim protection, we think shot block, and there's more to it than that. And so him taking those charges and
he's
just
leading the league in charges, right?
Yeah.
I think so. That's also huge, especially against a team that has rollers like Capella. He can kind of sneak in there and take those charges. If you get Capella in foul trouble, the Hawks are really in trouble.
Yep.
And so I want to give Kevin Love his credit for that.
I'm definitely putting my clips up after this for anybody that cares, because there's a bunch of those.
We're going to retweet them on the Heat Beat account, and you can find them on Siobhan's Twitter account, so make sure that you're on the lookout for that. Tiff?
Now I got to do it.
We've talked about everybody, so
we kind of have.
I gotta be creative in this. All right, I'm gonna say the X factor because this will make sense if you think about it. Max's offense is gonna be his best defense.
No, it is.
It is. It sure is. I was like,
you better be creative.
I thought you were gonna go South Beach.
I thought you were gonna go Hamish.
Let me tell you, South Beach.
I know South Beach will break some. Listen, I was there.
If you're coming into a playing game,
you
letting
ain't got
South
no
Beach
business.
beat your ass, you're not supposed to be here.
Miami better show up. We have a real home field advantage. Listen, it's on y'all down there.
That's it. Listen, G, I'm just saying. Max's offense is going to be his best defense because, as we say, we worry about him guarding Collins.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of it is somebody's going to have to guard him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can get up a couple of shots, and I always prefer him get rolling to the basket first to kind of try to get something up, get a little sweat before he just starts jacking up shots. But if he can prove to hit a couple of shots, that always improves his defense. And that means that somebody, if it's Collins, is going to have to come away from the basket which will open up a little bit more space and have to guard him.
I think
So
that Max is a guy, Tiff. We talked a little bit about him at the top. I think he's a guy that if he gets switched on to Trae a couple possessions, I think he won't die in those actions, even without like enormous amounts of help. And I think him surviving in those moments. And I always thought this was funny. Like, you know, you watch a basketball game, and really sometimes a couple plays, a three here and there, change the dynamic of a game so much.
Yeah.
And I think if Max can get one or two stops as an isolation defender, that can change the balance of a game.
Yep.
For a team that plays their entire season within 5 points.
Yep.
Same for Tyler. Like if Tyler can like body up and get some good, like a good dig or just like a good scrappy steal, like stuff like that, and that it gets him pumped, you know.
Yep.
And you know what? To both of y'all's points with Max, he had an up and down season, but I will give him credit for this. He's hit a ton of threes where the other team was coming back this season. He was just like, get the fuck out of here. Bang. And so that's huge also. So credit to him for that.
That should be Max's catchphrase.
Get the fuck out of here.
That'd be amazing.
No, you gotta have the bang.
Oh, I gotta have a bang.
They're really get the fuck out of here threes.
Yeah. When a team gets within 3 or within 5 or whatever it is, you can count on Max and knock that shit down.
Tyler hits a bunch. Tyler hits like the worst so back threes. Max hits get the fuck back three.
But you
I saw a stat yesterday, just based on the percentages. Tyler is the greatest shooter of all time this season in fourth quarter go-ahead buckets.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a crazy percentage. This Heat team
like 86.5.
Did you guys see that they broke the record for bench scoring against the Magic?
Yeah.
If you had put a gun to my head and say the Heat are going to do this, what team is it against?
So
Orlando would have been last that I picked.
Right. You telling me?
So you're telling me we get UD minutes because that's
it's fucked up. They blew the load with all the celebration. He was hitting Kobe fadeaways and
who you did?
He looked like the perfect answer at the floor yesterday.
Are we seeing? We have to answer the real question. Are we seeing Udonis Haslem minutes in a playing game?
When he caught that, first of all, Duncan Robinson threw the lob. So that's like it sounds like Duncan Robinson threw the lob to Udonis Haslem and it went in.
Alf said that was the best run fast break of the season, and he doesn't know how he's going to be able to sleep at night knowing that.
Terrible. The truth hurts.
I listen. Don't count out UD. Don't count out UD.
They can't play him now. They did too much.
That's true. That's true. Who, by the way, Ben Simmons has not scored more points in a Nets uniform than Udonis Haslem scored last night in a single game.
Now, why are we doing this?
Because that's funny, Bond. He's a young star who was a high pick and was traded for James Harden. And Udonis Haslem is a punchline with gray on his beard.
But
been somewhere like, now why am I in it?
Right.
So why?
Ben's eating his Cheerios this morning. Like, what the fuck I do?
It's the Sixers have such a long history over the past 10, 15 years of ruining players. I just feel bad for Ben.
I do too.
Sandwich
and y'all left and flourished.
Yo, didn't they draft Markel?
They drafted Mikal Bridges and traded him for a dude who I think never played in the league.
They traded
him for a dude they almost killed because he was allergic to peanuts. He ended up not playing, and they gave him peanuts.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but that's funny.
Oh, God.
Why do you know that?
It was something like that.
That was the thing. I remember. No, Kenny's right. I don't know how you remember that, but that was a thing.
Oh my God.
It is really funny. Sandwich in chat makes a great point. Duncan caught Wade's last lob and lobs UD's in his last game. He's like, I was actually thinking about that in the game where Duncan has for some reason played with both of these guys in their last game, and I think he and Bam are the only two that did, which is just kind of funny. I mean, Bam, it's not. Bam, it's like a real pass of the torch moment. Duncan Robinson's is like.
Right. Duncan's like in the back of the picture, like photo.
They love Duncan though. Remember when they were at the baseball game?
On his tippy toes.
Yeah,
Dunk was there. Bro.
Everybody loves Duncan.
Duncan got to be hanging out with all the coolest people. What's going on?
CG, you almost made me.
You know what that reminds me of? You know what that reminds me of? And G probably won't get this. I'm sorry, G, if that's racist, but there's a real famous picture of Tupac and Biggie in a club somewhere. But Marlon Wayans is in the background of that picture.
I actually know that picture.
Yeah. But Marlon Wayans is in the background of that picture.
That's Duncan.
That's
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm still here.
You lost your raise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's me. Bet you're wondering how I
Yeah.
got here.
Ryan Rivera
You're
says
wondering
G
how
took
we
that picture.
Exactly.
Henny G took that picture, not me.
Henny G.
I'm excited.
One of the
I'm
comments
hyped
on
for
YouTube.
tomorrow.
One of the comments on
excited for
YouTube
this
called me
game.
Henny G.
That's it. That's what you should just be.
That was really funny.
Just tag yourself.
Only when I rant.
Henny G.
Only when I rant.
I don't,
Go ahead, Vaughn.
Oh no, I'm excited for the game. Like we have the weapons, we can do it. But it's one game. Atlanta has beaten us once this season. All of the games have been decided by like 6.3 points. Like it hasn't been a landslide either way. So I don't know. It's definitely all
This is the best
hands on
type
deck.
of game.
It
This is
is
the best type of game.
Outback.
That-
This
this
is
should
the
be like a-
this is the play-in matchup I wanted them to get because I
This
definitely
is
didn't
a-
Oh
want
no,
that.
yeah.
It's a
Fuck that Raptors matchup.
Yeah,
And
I
I
don't
don't know
want the
what's going on
Raptors
with them and the Bulls. I don't want that. But that Raptors matchup was like,
Yeah.
I would rather do
No.
anything than do that.
That's when we was gonna see part 2 of Jimmy leaning over on the scores
Oh,
table.
without an arm
He was
though.
gonna have because he was gonna have to do all the heavy lifting.
Tiff, he would be
this
missing
is
a
going to
limb.
be
The Sixers
This
didn't
is-
get
this
out of
has
that
to be like
series
a
alive last year.
quintessential Heat win. Yeah.
I think this is I think this is a good honestly, I think this is what the team needs. They
They're gonna have
literally shit the
confidence.
bed all season and yet they still have a chance to
Yep.
do something. Like
Who would have thought? Look at us. You
Right.
and me here. Who would have thought?
look at us. Look at us. Who
You
would've
know,
thought?
Right.
I don't want them to lose their first ever playing game. I don't. So they
Gee.
got it.
I'm not betting against Jimmy Butler in this situation.
I like
I'm
his
just
quotes
not.
today. Jimmy said, "I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I'm gonna go hoop."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the caveat. Who's coming with me?
Who gonna come with me?
Because Jimmy's
God
gonna
damn it.
hoop. So now that's why I said I love this for this team because
Yeah.
going forward, we can say whatever we want. We want to trade. We want this. We want that. All right. Y'all want to hoop with Jimmy? Hoop with Jimmy.
Mhm.
You want to be in South Beach? Hoop with Jimmy tomorrow. That's what.
Yep.
No,
that's
they
what-
can't
that's
go to
it.
South Beach. The Hawks have to go to South Beach. And I'm gonna be honest
No,
with
like
you.
you
No,
want to
I
stay
just-
here,
I
be on this
mean-
No, I
roster.
know,
What's
I
the
know.
name
You
of the
wanna stay on the
arena? What's the name of the
I'm
arena?
not calling it that.
The-
I'm not calling it
Okay.
that.
Ksenia?
No,
Cassia?
I'm
I
not
don't know
calling
what
it
it
that.
is.
Kaseya.
The
No, I'm
AAA.
just saying.
The AAA.
It is definitely
Right.
the AAA.
Thank
I'm
you,
just saying, if we talk all this stuff all year round,
Yep.
and here we are. So this is it. This is the show and prove for everybody. Everybody's saying this person needs to be traded. This person doesn't need the money. Too much money. Not enough money. All right, go hoop. Like
I should be
And-
mentioned with who? I've been
Right.
the depoy. Everybody do the
Right.
things. Everything
do
that you've
all
been telling
the
us
things.
you're
You
gonna
can
do.
play
do it.
defense, play defense. You can shoot threes. You make all your free throws because all of this is going to be needed. Make your free throws. Like,
And the encouraging thing, and trust me, this example is going to come back around. But there's a documentary, my favorite documentary. It's about Sebastian Telfair. There's a first half of a game where he was shooting terribly. Right, half ends, his coach pushes him. He says, "First half is over. Forget about it. Second half's a new half." And that's the Heat coming into this. Like,
Yep.
they struggled all season. It's over with.
yep.
You start fresh, get in this play in, get this win, go against the Celtics, see what happens.
It can be done. Let me tell y'all something. With a shoulder brace on, senior night, I shot 1 for 23. You know when I hit that one?
At the
When it was
buzzer.
5 seconds
Game
left.
line.
When it was 5 seconds left. I hit one shot, and guess what? I'm the only person that remembers I went 1 for 23. Nobody
Yeah.
else remembers.
Shout out to your coach, by the way.
Oh, they
For-
Mad trust.
if I wasn't shooting, I wasn't doing nothing else. Oh, you on defense?
Chat's saying clutch too.
Ball. You on rebounds? Basketball.
Two quick things, and we get out of here. I'm going to get predictions, but I also have to ask you guys in chat a question. Should I sage the arena tomorrow? Now, I had a lot of people vote yes, and people said the vibes are good after UD. Don't mess with it.
Yes.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
leave it
Don't
alone.
touch it.
Yeah,
You ain't done it
yeah,
all
yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Where were you
I
when
agree.
times was rough?
Right. Where were you when we was in the bread line?
having a job.
Where was your antennas?
I thought about doing it, but I didn't even think. I thought this team was beyond even the spirits helping them. Like not even.
And plus, remember last year, like a bunch of people did it and kind of like ruined it.
Yeah, they ruined it.
Honestly,
I think the vibes are good though, G.
They co-opted it, and it just became way less funny. It did.
Yeah.
It did. I was actually okay with Sean doing it in Philly. Whatever, it was a different arena. Then too many people started doing it. It just got out of hand. I'm like, okay, never mind. It's not funny anymore.
Now, if they win the play-in,
save it.
Yes, they win the play-in, and then we get down to the real nitty-gritty. Then go ahead.
If I do it again, I may need to wear like a robe with like like the little it's like a little stick that swings with the smoke coming out.
It is, G,
I may need to do that at the arena.
G.
No.
Don't do that.
You ain't never did that. I don't know why you thought today was today to
just classic stick, just little sage.
G. Nah,
let it go.
You're gonna look too close to a priest, and I don't want you walking around. In this climate, I don't want you looking
priests and the Dalai Lama are canceled.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want you looking like the priest walking around because that's surefire ass kicking.
You talking about an incense stick? You like what is?
I don't know.
He wants the belt. He wants the thing. he wants to look. I
was going for the visual comedy.
She wants to pass out shit. No.
Listen, find some white sage and some cedar.
Yeah. Leave the incense alone. My mom used to light incense. We were still broke as hell, so I don't know how much they work.
They work.
Kenny's like, I want a PlayStation. You get some cedar and some.
You gonna
get these crystals and you gonna like
Egyptian musk.
My mom, I'm glad she don't watch this. My mom bought us NBA Live '98 in like 2002. So there you go.
Hey, that's a banger.
Hell yeah, it was.
Listen.
Predictions. We'll go Kenny, Bond, Tiff.
I'm gonna Heat by 12. I think I understand.
The line's 4.5. By the way, at least it was yesterday.
Yeah,
Heat favorite.
I think because the Heat embarrassed us in the first half. One of these games, I think it was the only game they lost against them. But they figured some stuff out in the second half. And again, I think Jimmy Butler being locked in instead of stupidly locked in tomorrow is going to be a huge deal. I'm not betting against him.
Makes a difference.
Do you think he's aware of how stupid that was?
Yes.
He hasn't brought it up since. So,
but he keeps saying locked in, and I'm like, stop saying that.
Yes, he's aware.
Yeah.
Jimmy is hilarious.
I love him.
He is. I love him too.
I love him. I'm going to go. I actually was going to say 10, and then I was going to say 12. So I used to do the same with Frankie. Like he would say 12, and I would say like 11, and then it would actually be 12, and I'd be pissed. So I'm gonna go Heat 13.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody's okay.
I think it's a comfortable win. Like not comfortable, but I think it's like
if I've learned anything this season is that they don't do comfortable.
They don't do.
New season though. New season.
It's new season. Yeah, new season. I got Heat by 8.
I like that. That feels reasonable.
I have the Heat not covering. That's all I have. Frankie agrees. Frankie just said they don't cover. Frankie and I are in sync. They do not cover. Lou is like, they're going to win by like 18 and shit. I go, you're fucking crazy. I go,
you done lost your damn mind.
You must be new here.
Lou ain't even got a key yet.
Yeah, it's too much dip on that chip.
That's just that's a lot.
Bond, Lou's still knocking on the door trying to get in. He ain't got a key yet.
Yeah, like you know.
Lou got the apartment with no furniture yet. He got the air mattress.
Frankie now doesn't like his ally anymore.
No, that's a lot of dip on that chip.
I said Frankie and I are in sync, and Frankie instantly started doubting his take. Carliana
so between you and Lou,
Heat by 17.
17.
Oh, y'all big.
Carliana says they'll win by so many that we'll see Yurt and Kane minutes.
All right, Carlos, you my girl.
I mean, listen.
Let me ask you.
You could get some Kane minutes. You could get some Kane.
I might be surprised, but I'm not gonna be surprised.
Yeah, I agree.
If I see Yurt minutes, we lost.
Or
shit,
every
that's
center
wild.
got hurt.
No.
No, yeah, because they just played
We-
Jimmy at the 5.
See, no, put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Damn, I forgot
If I
about
see your
Kane.
minutes-
Yo, they could throw Kane in there for like a few minutes
No,
just
they
to
won't.
chase people around.
We don't.
They won't.
We don't have
I
enough.
know that they won't.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see him next season, though. I can't lie.
No,
I
he's gonna
can't
be
wait.
great.
We talked about this last episode, Tiff, and I'll bring this up because he's your boy. You know, I think a lot of people were like, they're like, whoa, he looks good. Why didn't they play him? I think he benefited from the development in the G League.
He did. He did.
I think that was huge for him, and I think that I'm glad they didn't rush his development. I'm glad that they believed in him and kept him around because I think we all saw that there was something there, and I'm glad that they didn't throw him into a failing situation. They let him develop in a successful, G League organization instead of the garbage that we had this season.
No, he needed that. Like
Yeah.
when we saw him early, he looked like a giraffe, just all arms
Oh,
and legs, and
Zach,
he
big.
just didn't look comfortable in his body. But as the year progressed and he got all the G League time, he's so active, and
Yeah.
he's active with purpose. See, there's a difference. Like he has purpose with his activity. He's not just out there doing cardio. He's like his arms are long. So he made that ridiculous layup the other day, which was like, I don't even know how he even got the ball up there. But his arms are long, and he moves so fluidly now. He didn't move
And
like
then-
that at the beginning of the season.
You know what? This is what I'm excited about with Jamal Cain. He came back from the G League with a jumper.
Yep.
And that's not easy to do that fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that. He's also going to have an off season to kind of build on that
Yes.
also.
His body will get a little bigger. So I'm excited for him. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all. If Eric come in the game tomorrow, I think that means we lost.
I don't
It's
want to
been
say
a great
Go out.
season.
It's been a great season.
does UD get put in as a victory cigar at any point?
UD can't ever touch the floor again after the celebration.
No, he can't, because you know what?
Can't.
I don't want to. I need my last image of him being what I saw the other day.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it, especially in like a blowout. We losing. Don't no. Let that man leave that lasting image in our eyes that we had.
I've almost gotten the sight of Jason Tatum blowing by him out of my head. Like,
Yes,
this
yeah,
man-
Thanks
Right.
for bringing Bond. Thanks for reminding us.
I tried to forget that.
I actually
That
did.
and
I
that
actually did
damn-
forget.
that and that damn that Tyler lob to him.
That Tyler Lob him's hilarious.
that
He got
lob-
the redemption yesterday. I was
That Tyler Lob. That Tyler.
Put
that
him
was
in
so-
traction.
Dog, Tyler believed in my man. I want somebody to believe in me the way that Tyler believed in UD. That because for anybody else, great lob. For Udonis Haslem, people have been like, "Son, are you trying to kill
No,
me?"
but the thing about that lob is it's not anybody else. You have to be like Sean Kemp because he threw it so early.
You were so early.
If it was Derrick Jones Jr., that's Sports Center
Yeah,
top
different.
10.
Different.
Boom.
Yo, but he threw that. I will say Tyler threw that lob with all the love in his
Oh,
heart.
he
was
did.
like,
He
I'm about
did.
to, I'm about
He
to
wanted to
get
see
you
it.
one. I'm about to get you one. I'm about
He
to
probably
get
thought
you
he was
one.
like, "Oh man, I got my man right now. This is gonna be so sick." Man,
Made that man
UD falls
fumble
so
and fall.
slowly.
Yo,
I saw the
And then-
video today. I didn't see it yesterday of Dwayne with his daughter Kavya, and she's like
Yeah.
pointing. He's pointing at the banners, and he's like talking to her, and he's wearing the UD jersey. So it looks like he's in a Heat jersey on the Heat floor, pointing at the
Sad.
banners that they won together.
Sad.
Not sad. I was crying because I'm like, damn,
No,
that's awesome.
It's sad because
Oh, he should be
he's
here.
not-
Yeah,
exactly.
he should be here.
That's what the.
I
sad
think that's
part
going to
was.
get corrected, and I think that.
It will.
I think it will. And I know that the organization offered him something and he went with Utah for whatever reason that I'm not going to speculate. We don't know what happened.
Right.
But we do know that an offer was made, and I do think that eventually it will be made right cuz bro, he comes to our games all the time. He's still a part of this
That
organization.
man don't give a fuck about the Jazz.
No way. Bro, you think Shaq gave a
he
shit
was
about the
trying to-
Kings?
Right.
He was trying to get Zaire a spot. Like, we don't
Yeah.
even he wanted to be close to his boy. That man's in Africa. Let him
Okay,
Dwayne come back to
actual
Miami.
real last thing. You guys saw the video, the Udonis video with all like the people, right?
Yeah.
How funny was it when
Dwayne.
Magruder showed
Yeah.
up? It was like And I talked about this last show, but I wanted your thoughts. It was like Hall of Fame talent after Hall of Fame talent. Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Brian Grant, like legends. And then the scavenger, Rodney McGruder.
No, but you got to understand, like, I laughed 10 times harder because as soon as his face showed up on my screen, the first thing I heard was, Alf, shoot me in the fucking face.
Derek and the chat's like, wasn't DJ J? And DJ J came right after him, which Alex Toledo said, and I still couldn't hear a single word he said. He just speaks so softly.
He's so soft-spoken. I love Dwayne. He was the most secure motherfucker. And of all the Hall of Famers, everyone has their clips, and like LeBron had all them trophies and stuff. Dwayne was just his face, like, hey, what's up?
You know who I am.
That's my guy.
You know
exactly. You know me.
And shout out to another Liberty City legend, Tim James. They got to get him an iPhone.
What was he? He was on a Nokia.
It was a little rough, man.
Why was Chris Bosh not in that video?
86.
Where was Chris Bosh? He was in a different one. He wasn't in that one.
He was in a different one. Yeah.
Poltergust says Chalmers act like he was the best one there. Chalmers didn't even introduce himself.
Everyone Chalmers believes he was the best one there.
Rio's like, you know.
Why does he need to introduce him? You know who I am.
You know who the fuck I am.
We know who he is.
I'm 6. I'm 6.
Chalmers be walking on that floor with his kid, pointing at the banners, being, "I won that."
Listen, Chalmers wasn't the person I was like, "Who the hell is that?"
No.
So
when Chalmers said people didn't feel LeBron, he was talking about himself.
It's Brian Goins not knowing Eddie House.
Oh, Brian asking, who is this? I was like, bro, that's Eddie House. He played for us twice. That's the funniest part. Is like he's one of the few guys that played for us twice.
Brian said, "I don't know her."
I love Eddie House, bro. My favorite Eddie House moment is when Ray Ferguson slapped him upside the head.
Oh yeah, his headband turned.
As a member of another team. Did you guys ever hear? God, we're so rambling. Did you guys ever hear the story? This will actually be the last thing.
You said that 6 times.
Michael Wallace came on the podcast many years ago. And Michael Wallace, who now works for the Grizzlies, covered the Heat for a long time. We asked him, do you know what happened to Rafer Alston when he just disappeared? Apparently, he owed some bad people money, and that man fell off the face of the earth.
Oh, wow.
You talking about hot sauce?
Skip to my Lou.
Skip to my Lou. That's it. I always get the nickname wrong. Yeah. That's not, from what I heard, that's not all the way wrong.
Listen, I trust Michael Wallace.
But you on an NBA contract. Just pay them fucking people.
He had other stuff going on.
Are you?
He had other stuff going on, but like that was one.
Gotta feed his family, dog.
Rafer's doing great. We love Rafer, but it was just because remember they traded for him. He was on the team many years in like early 2000s. Then they traded for him in 2010, and he was supposed to play like the last pre-LeBron year. And he played a couple games and disappeared, you know. And then
what was going on with the Heat around that time? Because Arroyo Green got shit too.
Arroyo Compoyo was going on, starting point guard, baby.
Man, Gerald Green got in some shit at a hotel.
No, that was later. This is before that, bro.
No, Gerald Green was what 2000.
That was already that was post LeBron. I'm talking pre LeBron.
Was it? Oh, that's why he wasn't dunking. That was pissing me off. Yeah.
The Flocka incident.
Look, him and Ricky Davis fucking scammed us. They both came, and I'm thinking they're gonna be dunking and exciting. I don't think Ricky Davis dunked once in the Heat uniform.
Once he lost the braids, he wasn't.
Yeah, it was over with.
Is that your boy? Don't you love Ricky Davis?
Hell yes. But when he was in the Cavs being ignorant, like scamming triple doubles, I fucked with that.
Remember he tapped it off the That's when he had the braids.
No, but it's even funny because he was on a podcast recently. He told the story, and he was like, he had like 5 games straight where he almost had a triple double. It just didn't get. He'll be like 1 or 2 assists away or 1 rebound away. He was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go for mine."
Bronx Joker in chat resubscribed to Tier 1.
We still going.
And they said,
"Oh, shut up."
Your Ricky Davis was also missing from that UD video.
Oh yeah, Ricky Davis thought he was his own OG.
We needed Hassan.
That would have been hilarious. That would have pissed so many people off.
To do what?
To say what?
To say thanks, OG.
To say what?
Then that would have been it. Thanks, OG.
It would have been funny if Hassan called him. If Hassan thought it was like somebody else retiring.
You know what? I don't want to make assumptions, but I feel like the last person UD would have wanted to see is
no, we agree.
think so.
Hassan
Exactly.
Frankie, Lou, and I
Exactly.
said, who is the funniest person that could show up in this video? We all agreed it was Hassan.
Oh, certainly. I'm sure Hassan pissed Udonis off every day of the week.
Oh, I'm sure
Of
that.
course.
When
Udonis had a
Hassan
voodoo
left
doll.
that game early and D Wade had to cover for him,
Man.
I feel like there's nothing UD could have ever. I don't think UD. I can't imagine UD forgave him for that since.
Chat says Winslow
Feels
and Jay
right.
Rich should have been on the video instead of Jay and DJJ. Yeah, Jay Crowder. We said yesterday. Jay Crowder was like here for he wasn't even here for half a season.
Yeah. And he was all extra cool.
He
in
was
it. What's up?
featured.
You saw that, right?
Yeah.
How you doing, my man?
Boss man.
All of that.
It was.
I don't.
It was great to see Brian Grant though.
It was.
What, Tiff?
Did Jay Crowder even play this year? Like, I have no idea what happened. He went to the
He's
Bucks.
with Milwaukee.
and then- but I don't even know.
He is playing.
I don't know if he's in there. I don't know. Yeah.
He played well against us that first game back.
That's
all.
last
Yeah.
season, G. That's a long time ago. This is a new
This is
season.
new season. And with the new season comes new stuff. Guys, Hangover Time is every Miami Heat game this postseason. Want to clarify, it's not every game. It's just Heat games. We're not, as much as I want to watch Warriors Kings, I don't think we're going to cover it.
That'll be fun.
Light the beam. Might do some playbacks. Who knows? We're going to have some fun here.
I'd be remiss to not point out G's misspelling in the Chiron.
To what?
Part 2 of a 2-part preview.
Preview? Well, I missed an eye. Listen, that's not the worst thing I fucked up this week. I was given a speech at a wedding, and I bombed that. I lost my place in the Google Doc, and it was all over.
I feel like there's more.
Gee,
important
they
stuff
never
to
told
worry
you to
about,
use
though.
They never told you to use your finger.
It's over.
Right, you trace the line. Stay.
It's over. And
Gee,
I was asked to
I
do it
teach
because
that every day, G.
Tiff-
Just use your pointer.
Tiff, they picked me. They picked me because they're like, oh, G's good with a microphone. Like they don't know.
They don't-
They don't know the truth. These people think I'm some accomplished person who covers the Heat. They don't know the Heat banned me because we had a porn producer on, and they don't know the ridiculousness that goes on over here.
At least they ask you to write the speeches.
I did write it.
right?
I wrote it and I
Talking
read
about
off
other
of it.
people's.
Other people's, no way. I did lie, and I did say in my speech that I'm a writer by trade, which is just a lie. I haven't written. I haven't written in forever.
My stomach is
Have they-
growling.
Have they met you?
Yeah. Wrap it up. Well,
You say, yep.
I was giving announcements. I forgot. Hangover
Hangover
time.
time.
Every Heat game
There you
this
go.
season. We got you covered pre and
Pre-game,
post game
post-game.
for the play-in and any subsequent game, however long that may go. Alf, Brass, and the crew got you post game. We give you what you want. Hangover time, full time again. You know what it is. You know Bond's gonna be there. We got Tiff's treats. We got all that good stuff. All our fun, lovely Hangover time segments that you know and love, and they'll be rocking with you after every game this season, as well as our pre-games and our podcast breaking down everything that goes on, hopefully deep into the postseason. Shout out to Miami Gaming Parties for being a fantastic partner. We love you guys and the support that you give us. Shout out to viewers like you. We'll see you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Pre-gaming,
Tomorrow night.
Heat, Hawks, Kenny, Frankie, Lou, me. I don't know who else, but we'll have you covered. And then Hangover time after. Love y'all. We will see you tomorrow. Peace out.